Hi guys, and welcome back to our channel. Today's video is different for me because I felt like I had to finally conquer my fear and like get back on camera and explain, well not explain, but just kind of let you guys know what we've been going through and why I haven't been filming and posting as much. So that's what today's video is about, and I just want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. I do check, and like I'm still pretty much active on the YouTube channel. I just don't post as much, but thank you to all the people who have been watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing as of recently. We've been gone for about like 4 or 5 months, but I still see that people are engaging and the channel continues to grow. So thank you all to the new subscribers and supporters. So today's video, as you can see by the title, is about our journey basically since March of 2017, so March of this year. Karmen was diagnosed with echolalia, and the backstory to it is that we're a military family and we move a lot. So she's had about 5 different pediatricians, and recently last summer when we got to California, she got with a new pediatrician, and that pediatrician had just been monitoring like her speech and her language and like her development from 2 to 3. So one day we went in for like a random checkup because she was getting ready to start a new school. And she asked me, you know, like, has Karmen always spoke like this? Has she always repeated what you say? Has she failed to maintain eye contact? And I was like, yeah, she has, but her prior pediatricians have felt like, you know, it was no big deal. She would outgrow it. A lot of kids who are exposed to different languages kind of have a delay in speech, because we lived in Korea for a year when Karmen was a baby, and Karmen's father is Latino, so she's exposed to Spanish, and then of course she's exposed to English. So that was 3 different languages all before she was, you know, 1 year old that she was exposed to. So she was like, you know, sometimes some kids who are exposed to 2 different languages will speak late, or they'll favor one language over the other, or they'll mix them. So we didn't know if Karmen was mixing Spanish and English because it sounded like jibber jabber when she would talk. And she knew about, well, she could say about 30 words clearly, like you knew what exactly she was saying. But as far as forming a sentence, she would mix, you know, regular speech with jibber jabber is what we would call it. And so she just was like, you know, that's not normal, so I'm going to refer her to a neurologist and do some further testing. We did the further testing, and it came back that she has what's called echolalia. And they tested her for autism because a lot of children who have echolalia are autistic. But she came back negative for autism. Not necessarily negative, because there's not like a positive or negative test, but there's a spectrum of autism. If you don't know what autism is, it's kind of really complicated, but nonetheless there's about 12 to more tests that can be done to test your child for autism, and they include sensory, speech and language, motor skills, just a lot of different tests, how they react to color, shape, symbols, if they know, like if they play with things the way they're supposed to be played with, if they eat like unknown objects or objects that you shouldn't eat like sand, clay, dirt, if they're sensitive to light or sound, meaning like bright lights or loud noises. So she went through quite a few tests, and she also got an IEP done, which is an individual education plan at her school because she's in Head Start, and that also came back, I'll say, negative for autism, as she didn't check enough boxes to be considered autistic, but she did have severe speech and language delay, and she did have severe echolalia. I'm going to just go ahead and read the definition of echolalia because most people don't know what it is. I didn't know what it was, but people with echolalia repeat noises and phrases that they hear. They may not be able to communicate effectively because they struggle to express their own thoughts. For example, someone with echolalia might only be able to repeat a question rather than answer it. In many cases, echolalia is an attempt to communicate, learn language, or practice a language. Echolalia is different from Tourette's syndrome, where the speaker may suddenly yell or say random things that they hear, such as like that's what a tic is. In this case, the speaker has no control over what they say and when they say it. Repetitive speech is extremely common part of language development and is commonly seen in young toddlers when they learn to communicate. By the age of 2, most children will start mixing in their own utterances along with repetitions of what they hear. By age 3, most children with echolalia will be minimal at most. It is common for children with autism or developmental delays to have echolalia further into childhood, especially if they're experiencing delayed speech development. Identifying why and how your child is using echolalia will help develop a treatment plan. So basically, echolalia is repeating things that you hear as a means to communicate. So when Karmen was about 18 months to 2.5, 3, anything that you asked her, she would repeat it to you. And we had it looked into, but as I said, we're a military family, we move a lot. And a lot of doctors, in my opinion, do not put the time and effort into your child if you don't make them. And I would tell them, like, hey, like, she's not communicating. She doesn't like, you know, to be asked something over and over because it makes her frustrated. And they would always say, like, that's normal. Kids don't want to be bothered. You know, kids get irritated, and it's normal for kids to get irritable when learning things or doing things. Just, you know, keep monitoring it, keep working with her, keep reading with her, doing flashcards and educational things. That's what we did. But, you know, by age 3, we were just like, nah, this is not right. And I was happy that the doctor finally got a referral for her to be seen and to be further tested, because it got frustrating. You know, most people would ask, how old is she? And at a certain age, people normally just walk up to kids and want to communicate with your child. And Karmen's not that child, you know. And it did get frustrating at a point when people would say, oh, hi, what's your name, pretty? And how old are you? And she would not respond. And at that time, we didn't know what was going on. We just say, oh, you know, like, she's shy, or, you know, her name is Karmen. She's 2 or she's 3. But with echolalia, I will say that we have gotten a lot further with her now that we know what it is. You know, we know how to spot when she's frustrated and why she's frustrated, and how to kind of teach her how to communicate. It took me about 6 months to teach her her name, which is not normal, I know, and most kids pick up on their name by around 18 months, and they can say their name at 18 months. Not Karmen. She was responsive to her name, but she could not tell you her name. And I actually have a video of the first day that I got her to say her name, but of course she was repeating what I said. So I'll try to find it and insert it. But
Whoa.
Karmen, what's your name?
What's your name? My name is Karmen.
Good job. You did it.
No, you will.
I would ask her name. I would say, what's your name? And she would say, what's your name? My name, Karmen. And it took 6 months to get her to stop saying the what's your name part and just say, my name is Karmen or Karmen. And that's basically what echolalia is. When you ask her things, she repeats them. And that's with any and everything when she was 2 and 3. If you said, what do you want to eat? She would just simply respond and say, to eat, or what to eat. You know, she couldn't say the whole sentence, but she would just basically repeat what you said. And there were some things that she could answer. If I said, you know, you want to go outside, she would say yes. But with further testing, we found that with echolalia, kids do learn how to respond, and they respond how they hear a response. So Karmen is one of those kids who I guess are like 1 in a million with echolalia, who communicate based on how they hear things. Karmen's expressions are however she received it. So like sometimes if we get dressed in the house and we're putting on clothes, she'll say, where are you going? And it never changes. Her expression, her tone, it's always, where are you going? And it's not like, hey mommy, hey daddy, where are you going today? What are you doing? Why are you putting on clothes? Like, she's not going to ask those questions. She's going to just say, where are you going? Because she's heard it said that way and she knows what it means, but she doesn't know how to take where are you going and put it into a bigger sentence or change her tone. So a lot of echolalia has to do with the tone of the repetition. There's times where you can ask her something, like for example, when she goes to school and she comes home and I say, how was your day at school, Karmen? Her response is always, had a good day. And that's because she's learned that last year when she was in a different school, I would ask her, you know, how was your day, Karmen? Did you have a good day? What did you do at school? And she wouldn't respond. So with me asking her that every single day for like 3 or 4 months, she picked up on when mommy says, how was your day? Did you have a good day at school? Her response is always, had a good day. And it does get worrisome because she's 4 now and she's in Head Start, and pretty soon she'll go to pre-K and kindergarten, and she can't really express herself. And she is in therapy for that. But even with speech therapy, you know, kids are kids, and I want to be able to communicate with her and be able to know how her day was. And that's the most frustrating thing ever, because she can't tell me what happened at school. She can't tell me what she ate for lunch. She can't tell me if she had an accident at school, if somebody hurt her at school, if, you know, she didn't have a good day, if she was tired. Like, you know, just the little things that I feel a lot of parents take for granted with their child. Karmen can't do those things. You know, some kids come on and say, man, I'm tired, or so-and-so did this to me at school, and this happened at school, or I saw my friend and my friend's name is this. Karmen does not know anyone's name in her class. She recognizes the kids. She plays with the kids. I've been to her school. They've had field trips, but she's not able to tell me, like, hey, that's my friend so-and-so. Some of the kids come up to her and they'll hug her and they'll say, hi, Karmen. And she'll just look at them like, why are you talking to me? Like, she has no communication skills to express what she's feeling. And if they hug her, she'll hug them back, but she's not able to say, like, you know, mommy, that's my friend, we play every day together, or we go outside together. She can't tell me those things. And sometimes it gets really sad for me, because I want to know what's going on in her life, and I want to know how she feels, and I want to understand how she feels, and I can't, because she can't tell me. And I can't hold her hand anymore, and I can't be there every step of the way with her anymore. So a lot of it is just like literally a day-to-day thing, because even though she goes to a school with other children who have disabilities, learning disabilities and physical disabilities, and her teachers are very good about sending notes home or sending me a text if something happened at school, they're not going to tell me every little thing. They're only going to tell me what they feel is important that I know that she did or did not do. So, you know, when I look at the bigger picture, all I can do is just really, really pray and have faith and just monitor her and give her the best help that she can get, because I would just feel like I failed her as a parent if anything were to happen to her and she couldn't tell me. And that's the part of Echolalia that I don't like, is that she, like any child, would be afraid to tell you anything bad that happened. But because she has Echolalia, it's going to be 10 times harder to get it out of her. I know, for example, when we go home and she's with her cousin and her and her cousin get into a fight, my niece can tell me verbatim what Karmen did to her. Sometimes she will say what she did to Karmen, but sometimes she won't. And I'll say, Karmen, why did you hit her? And she'll just say, hit her? Or she'll say, no, Ken, don't do that. I'm like, well, what did she do? Why did you get frustrated? Why did you hit her? Why are you not sharing with her? And she can't tell me. You know, luckily my niece can tell me, like, hey, Karmen hit me, Karmen pushed me. But, you know, when you have kids, you want to make sure that you're telling them what they did wrong and when they did it wrong. And with Karmen, you really have to just be on her and monitor her so that, you know, if she does anything wrong, you can correct it right then. Because if you have a child, you know, there's no point in spanking them hours and hours later after they've done something, because they're not going to remember, they're not going to understand, they're not even going to comprehend why they're getting a spanking or why they're in timeout. So that part of Echolalia really, really bothers me, because I want to be able to do things with Karmen and teach her things, but she doesn't always respond like she understands. So as far as YouTube goes, if you follow my channel and you've been with my channel for a minute, then you've heard me say that I didn't get on this platform to do anything but try to help other moms like me who had no clue how to do hair, but you had a little girl. And it's basically just an outlet for me. And it's kind of a way for me to look back upon my growth and how I've taught myself to braid, and I've got better with parting and just being creative when it comes to doing her hair, because hair does not come naturally to me. I can maintain it, but as far as styling is something that I feel like you just practice makes perfect. You just learn to get better with it, and you learn your child's texture and what looks good and what works well for them. So with that being said, I've been doing videos for almost 2 years now, and there were comments, like, oh, we love Karmen, we want to see more of Karmen, but it was very nerve-wracking for me because as her mother, I want to protect her. I don't want anyone looking at her like, something's not right because she doesn't speak, like, hey, she's 4 years old, but she can't do certain things. And not that I owe an explanation to anyone, but I feel like if I'm going to be truthful and help other people, I have to help people by letting people know, like, hey, this is something that has happened to my child. Maybe you see the signs in your child, and maybe, you're like me, you have a pediatrician in the past who didn't really show concern or who just kind of brushed it off what you were saying, and this could be what's wrong with your child. I'm not really here to share my life in terms of like, hey, this is my life, look at it, enjoy it. No, I just want to help other people like myself who have no idea what echolalia is, no idea about autism, no idea about anything developmentally, anything that's developmentally delayed within a child, because Karmen is my first child, and I feel like within my community, a lot of people don't speak about any kind of disability, whether it's mental disability, a learning disability, a physical disability. People don't talk about these things, and you don't really know what runs in your family or what's in your family or what's, what other people have going on in their lives, because so many people are ashamed to say like, hey, I have ADHD or I have ADD or I was diagnosed with autism or whatever the case is. Like, a lot of people don't speak upon these things, and for me, that's what frustrates me, is that I had no idea that that could even be an issue. Like, my pediatrician never ever mentioned that she's not speaking well, she could have autism, or she could be delayed, or she could have something in her brain that's not relaying what you're saying, or she could be partially deaf. All of these things tie back into the nervous system and how your brain sends the signals out. If she couldn't hear me, maybe it's just why she didn't respond. If she didn't understand, she couldn't respond. So all these things were not thoroughly checked, in my opinion, for Karmen's checkups. If she wasn't hitting these milestones to a certain degree, I feel they should have been further looked into. And even though now looking back, I'm like, I have Kelsey's 10 months, and I'm very, very, very thorough when I go to her checkups. They give you this broad checklist. This is the 12-month checkup. Is she doing this, and this? And as a parent, you're like, okay, yeah, she's doing that. Yeah, she's doing that. But I feel like as a pediatrician, it's their job to tell you, okay, are they speaking more than 3 words? You checked, yes, but what are the 3 words? Like, if it's just 3 words, okay, cool, Karmen knows 3 words, but does she know more than 3? No, maybe she doesn't. Okay, well, if she should know between 20 and 50 words, then that's a problem. So in this video, it was more so, I felt like God put it on my heart like 5 months ago, but I wasn't ready to talk about it because I wasn't embarrassed, but I am very protective of Karmen, and I never want anybody to call her different. Different for me, or not normal, is offensive, because what is normal? What is normal? What is the same? Like, what is so different about my child that you need to say that, oh, she's different? I don't want my child labeled. I want Karmen to grow up and have a normal life, and I 100% believe that with the proper care and guidance, that she will speak at the rate that she's supposed to within the next year, because she is making tremendous improvement and progress with her therapist. But it's just frustrating that it took basically 18 months to get her even seen and acknowledge that she has an issue going on. But in terms of labels, like I was saying, I just don't like labels, and I feel like if you have a child nowadays, then you can relate that a lot of people push labels onto you. If your child can't maintain eye contact, oh, they're autistic. If your child doesn't like certain foods or textures, they're autistic. If your child doesn't want to read or can't focus in school, oh, they have ADHD or they're ADD. It's like nothing is really investigated and researched. It's just, your child has this issue, here's the medication for it. And I I just refuse to treat Karmen as if medication is going to solve all her problems, because it's not. She's not on any medication, and she will not be put on any medication, because I personally feel like what she has going on can be resolved with proper therapy and just working with her and redirecting her when she gets frustrated and correcting her words when she uses her language wrong, and teaching her how to express herself rather than fight or push or, you know, turn away from people. And for me, it's just kind of hurtful because I research a lot online, and a lot of parents are going through the same thing with doctors. They feel like their doctor doesn't really listen, and they're just quick to label and quick to just say, this is the issue, okay, go away, you're going to get this help, instead of really researching and trying to help the patient grow and be the best they can be in this work. The hardest part for me personally is just dealing with it day to day. You know, she's 4 years old now, and she has a sister, and it's just certain things I wish she could do according to her age, and that's the part that is hard. It's not that she has echolalia, because she's easy to love, she's easy to be around, she's easy to want to be around. Karmen is very loving, in my opinion, because I'm her mother, and she's very, very caring. And it's hard to just, it's the little things that makes echolalia hard. It's the things like birthdays and Christmas. Christmas was 2 days ago, and a lot of people probably could say, you know, hey, what do you want for Christmas, or what do you want Santa to bring you, and their child could answer. Karmen can't, you know. So of course I just bought what I knew she would like, and she loved everything, but it's days like that that really bother me and get me kind of sad, because it's like, man, people probably don't know, but it's like I would give just about anything for her to be able to tell me, mommy, I want this and I want that, and to really know what she's saying and to mean it. And when we go to Disney and other places with her that are kid friendly, or, you know, kid places, it's really hard to watch her be excited and do things and not be able to communicate it. You know, when we pull up at Disney, she's like, that's Mickey Mouse, that's Minnie Mouse. And, you know, I'm like, are you excited? And she'll be like, no response, or she'll shake her head because she's like just responding to respond. You know, if I say, do you want to go see, or do you want to go meet Mickey, do you want to go ride a ride, she doesn't respond. You know, I know she's excited and she's happy to be there, but she can't verbalize her excitement, and she can't tell me like, oh my gosh, I had a good time on this ride, or I like that ride. And it really sinks in when we speak with family and they're like, oh, Karmen, what'd you do today, or where did you go today? And she's like, had a good day. Like, I don't know what you're asking me. But they know, like, she's been to Disney or she's been to Chuck E. Cheese. But, you know, some kids can tell you, like, I went to Disney today and I rode this ride and I met this princess and I saw Mickey and I saw Minnie. Karmen, no. And that's the part that's really hard for me, is that she can't tell me things that I would want her to be able to tell me. And when I think back on it, you know, it's like, she's had a really good life, but she can't express that, and she can't tell us, you know. I just hope that my husband and I are able to give Karmen everything that she needs so that she's able to live a productive, happy, independent life, because I want her to be fully independent. I want her to live her life. I want her to enjoy things that I enjoyed as a child, as a teenager, and I want her to be able to just communicate with everyone in her life, not just me. And I want everybody to be able to understand what she's saying. I don't want to have to translate for her. I'm just really thankful and grateful that while she has a speech and language issue, she's able to receive the care that she needs, and she's doing a lot better. You know, I think that that's the hardest part as a parent, when your child has a situation going on and they aren't progressing. I hope the video was informative and that it just shines a light on an area that I feel people do not talk about, which is echolalia, autism, and just mental disabilities as a whole, and physical disabilities and learning disabilities. A lot of people think that there's only ADHD and ADD that affect people and how they learn, but there are so many other things out there that hinder children from learning and expressing themselves. And I just encourage everyone to just be aware of your kid if you have a child, and what's going on in their lives, so that you can be proactive and help them and get them the help that they need so that they're able to progress in school and in life in general. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.